hard time getting through the early game. Renegades have had great early games, and now they're actually closing them out.
Yeah, that is very true. Of course, we've already seen these teams today. No need for those starting lineups. Interesting that we see a Lissandra ban very early from Team Impulse, but they know what Seraph can do on Lissandra. He played it for them and won a game with it earlier on in the year against Cloud9.
Yeah. Meanwhile, no Kalista for MASH. He had one lane with it just earlier today, so that's off the table for him. No Nilly for Procxin. Of course, no surprise that junglers would first pick that. Trundle off the field. Hakuho had a strong Trundle performance as
True.
The support, getting rid of tanks in the top lane. Feng has played almost exclusively tanks himself.
Yeah.
The last half of the split here. Actually, I take that back. He's played actually quite a number of Graves games, which is now the other ban. So there we go, trying to remove some options from Feng as they also ban one of the counter picks to when he does play tanks.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate that Renegades feels the need to ban that, but they thought it would be first pick because Seraph has had some great Graves games as well. Curious to see what Seraph plays here, as most of the champions that he has played in the LCS are currently banned. Lissandra, Lulu, and Graves.
True. Might have to shift around a little bit here. And as time ticks down, we look at the first pick, which is kind of unsurprisingly the Corki hover so far. Again, it remains a flex pick between mid lane and the AD carry position. Impulse taking their time with what this one's going to be.
Yeah, don't see anything wrong with picking Corki this early. Don't have to worry about getting counter, can always swap him down to later. And they force the opponent team to respect the flex.
So Renegades will hopefully not make the mistake of picking in Azir in the first 2 rounds and giving away the chance at a Zed counter pick. That won't happen. Poppy in the top lane for what likely is Seraph. Crumbzz on that at this point, trademark Gragas here, playing a whole lot of that one himself. He should feel pretty comfortable in this champion. So a tank wall already up in the front line for Renegades. We'll see what's behind it later.
For sure. Really good, solid front line. Can never even count out Ninja playing Zed as well. Zed would be okay into Corki, actually. A couple teams have banned Zed against Renegades since Ninja's joined the lineup.
But Impulse still going to make their choices, and Zed you don't expect to be a blind pick for a while here, so maybe it'll come in the counter later on. Impulse now grabbing their own tanks. There's no rush in grabbing these, really, with Gragas already grabbed. Rek'Sai is uncontested, and might not even go for that one anyway. Nautilus, still solid. Top lane or support can work just fine there. I prefer top lane personally, and with Trundle off the table, it makes Nautilus feel a lot better in the top lane.
Yeah.
And yeah, that alongside Kindred here for Procxin.
Nautilus had been super, super strong in the top lane. Now I just say he's strong.
Just strong.
In the top lane. The Riptide nerfs actually take a significant chunk of damage out of him in the late game where he's using it on such a low cooldown. And I think it puts Poppy a full tier above the Nautilus. In fact, I think it puts Trundle above Nautilus as well, which is why Trundle's banned, and they default back to the Nautilus, but he still has a lot of his core functionality. Great CC bot, huge tank.
Definitely true. Impulse actually assembling part of the composition they actually had when they faced Renegades earlier. The Corki and Nautilus were part of that composition. Similarly, Renegades had a Sivir for themselves, and well, we'll see what else comes through here. They had played a Pope composition the last time around, and Ninja had a very great Varus game. Sivir I always support as the pick. I think she's a wonderfully strong AD carry, but they're going to wait for now. Blind picking a Gangplank is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
And they will go Lucian alongside.
That is a huge surprise. It cuts them into all physical damage.
I think they're baiting Poppy support to give Seraph Gangplank into Nautilus, which is a very good matchup for Gangplank. You just don't get wrecked. Poppy support's not the best, but you know what? I think that's the choice they're going for here.
No,
Gangplank for Seraph.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially with Nautilus being locked in on the other side. Too easy to get 400 armor on that champion. You would be foolish to pick all
Gangplank
physical
mid, Poppy
damage
top.
solo lanes
Yeah.
into someone who's already locked in Nautilus. So yeah, I think that's a Poppy support.
Well, we'll see if that's the case right here as the picks come through finally for Impulse. Gate gets his Bard once again. There's Azir in the mid lane. Now, what's funny is we saw Shifter pick Gangplank into Azir and get really heavily punished in the game against, I forget who it was actually. I'm blanking here. CLG, I believe it was, who he's Azir. And now you see Pirean picking Azir into what he thinks is Gangplank mid, but I think Renegades have a trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the mind games are quite exactly this, but if they were trying to do the Poppy support, they still, and they're actually hoping to play Zed into Azir, they kind of can't, because that would then also give them an all physical
AD.
damage team potentially against Nautilus. Or they could just think they're going to play Zed mid, crush the lanes, win the game early.
Right.
But that is conflicting goals when you have a Gangplank top lane and a Zed mid lane. So
That's the funny thing is like all the traditional counterpicks right now to Azir in the current sort of strong suited champions are physical damage. Varus mid, physical. Zed mid, physical. And there's no AP cog from way back when. It will be Zed after all. It is the Gangplank top IP support. So Jatt, we called it. Give me a fist bump for that one. We are awesome at Champ Select. We saw it coming. Hakuho on the support Poppy. Many supports have shied away from playing this one because of the base damage nerfs she received. We'll see how she does up against Bard. Ninja is going to get pretty much an eponymous champion here with Zed coming into the mid lane. Pirean will have to run Exhaust on Azir to survive the matchup, and we'll see if he goes Arm Guard into Rylays or just a full Zonias.
And ultimately, with the way that Team Impulse is built on this team, even though Renegades is all physical damage, Renegades is basically saying either Feng carries this game or we don't care about being all physical damage. And based on previous results, Feng hasn't carried any games in the North American LCS, so that's why I think Renegades is okay going Gangplank Zed for their solo lanes.
And it's still scary damage. These guys do have Armor Pen as part of their kits. You can see Black Cleaver come out from Zed without too much worry either. And, you know, we'll just see what the lineup ends up being here and the itemization choices and just how far ahead Feng can even get. Seraph should feel pretty confident getting a matchup he would have loved to have in the first place. Gangplank and Nautilus feels great. And the coaches walk off stage for their final game of the regular season / tiebreakers here on the LCS stage. They'll be in promo tournament for sure. And we're going to see who can take 8th place. You guys at home, let us know who it's going to be. Tweet at LOL eSports the hashtag TIP winner, hashtag REN win for which squad is going to claim 8th here at the end of regular season play. Azir, Corki, Bard, Nautilus, Kindred versus Gangplank, Gragas, Lucian, Poppy. Brought out a bit out of order, but here we go. There's their logos on the screen. The crowd is here ready to watch. We're here ready to commentate. These teams are ready to battle. And here we go with our final game of the regular season.
We got ourselves a tiebreaker.
Yes, we do.
We were actually expecting many more tiebreakers today, but with the way the chips fell, it is just the tiebreaker between Renegades and Tip for 8th place. Nonetheless, it's an important momentum-building game, as well as just giving them an easier path back into the LCS.
Yeah. And getting back in is going to be what matters here. As Renegades hope to win this game, and very rapidly, in about 5 games of work, climb from 10th to 8th, which is honestly a pretty big deal. It helps quite a bit in your chances of staying in the league. Seraph, starting very greedily, by the way, actually went Sapphire Crystal Refillable Potion. That is roughly as aggressive as you can start on Gangplank. Wanted to start the Sheen as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And never have to buy new potions.
We'll see how Seraph can speed up. I mean, especially with the Zed and the fear of Team Impulse being able to stack armor on maybe the Bard and the Nautilus, he would want to get that fast start on the Gangplank, especially because they very clearly wanted that matchup of Gangplank versus Nautilus. Something where Gangplank can usually freely farm in.
Definitely true. So Renegades with a solid draft getting matchups they think are going to work, and the only real difficulty is if the armor stacking comes to bite them in the end. That's otherwise a pretty beautiful draft by them. Renegades hoping to catch the invade, but they kind of dance around each other and trade damage. First damage comes out. Hakuho should have gotten 10 gold from that if he was running Bandit, which he should be.
Yeah. Or if he was running Spell Thieves.
Yeah, Spell Thieves Poppy.
Poppy.
That's the real way to play League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we get the standard lanes. Technically,
this is a super weak lane for Renegades, by the way. They have very, very little pressure. Mash and Gate can just auto-attack freely for basically ever.
Yeah, Poppy support, it's another reason we haven't seen much of it. It has gank assistance if they get early ganks from Crumbzz, but aside from then, they're just going to be shoved in by Mash and Gate.
And Hakuho is going for the gank assist build, by the way. Instead of going like Bond of Stone or something and trying to be tanky, he is going Thunderlords with the Hybrid Pen Mastery in that tree in Cunning. So he's hoping to get some burst damage for when Gragas comes down to that lane.
Yeah, and there's going to be some conflict down bottom side, actually. The mark for Kindred has spawned in the river as Scuttle Crab, and this is actually really fortunate for Procxin. This should be a very easy first mark pickup for him.
He's got
mainly
too.
because his dual lane is so advantageous right now. Even if Crumbzz wanted to come down, he'd be getting 3v1'd. So, yeah, just
Feels good, man. Plus 70 gold and 1.25% current health damage on hit. Procxin can feel pretty good about getting some nice farm early on. Oh, missed the auto attack. Feng taking plenty of damage, and Seraph letting him on fire. Oddly enough, actually does work against Nautilus, though he was submerged.
Yeah, and Seraph didn't actually take the best of that trade.
Yeah, he lit a shield on fire.
I mean, he's... Yeah, and guess what? He gets it back in 10 seconds.
Yay!
15 seconds, I think. But with the monocrystal refillable potion start from Seraph, that also means that Feng will have more sustain, because he's not away for the corruption potion. So not really sure why Seraph felt the need to get so aggressive. We'll be recalling back.
Because you just feel so good when you blow up a Bale. You're like, oh yeah, I got the slow on him. I'm going to do this thing to him. And he he has cooldowns. So Seraph with an early recall on just Sheen. But that does mean his teleport is down. That can be called. And we'll see if Impulse are able to play around the fact that that cooldown is down. But otherwise, it does mean that Seraph has quite a bit of a lane advantage.
Yeah,
I guess that's why he traded.
Yep, got the Sheen. Mission successful. That's why he started with monocrystal and refilled the pot. And then he very quickly refills his potion. Counter is a cloth armor and health crystal up top. And with the teleports being burned, that looks like Crumbzz' first order of business. Feng exposed himself a little bit too, but it's also still a little early game Gangplank.
Yeah.
So,
well, 139 damaged out there. Body slam lands. Feng flashes. And he will anchor toss to safety. The dredge line keeping him alive, but losing a lot of health and a summoner spell.
Right. Very rarely will you kill someone as Gangplank in the early game.
Yeah.
Even with gank assistance. But they burn the flash, and they're kind of guaranteeing Seraph safer laning phase and throwing Freeze and Hakuho to the wolves. But they're doing all right, CS-wise.
Yeah, and speaking of throwing things to the wolves, Procxin getting another one. Thankfully, Wolf is choosing targets very properly, and 2 Rift Scuttlers in a row makes him feel quite nice. The hunt target is otherwise Gragas, and maybe he'll find himself in a fight against the Renegades jungler, but it's okay. So top lane's doing kind of badly for Impulse. Bottom lane's not doing great for Renegades. Jungle's going great for Procxin. So, you know, trade of advantages right now.
You're absolutely right. If you think about the super late game, especially when he's picking up all those Kindred marks, it would favor Team Impulse. So I actually think Renegades needs to win this game a little bit earlier.
Well, they're trying right now as they head into the bot lane, looking for the body slam flash, which hits Mash actually, not Gate. And he has to flash to safety, but that is 2 flashes burned by Impulse for the flash of Crumbzz.
I actually think Crumbzz could have burned both flashes without burning his own flash.
I think so,
just
too.
by walking close and then using the body slam and forcing them to flash away. But instead, he gets both flashes, doesn't get the other defensive summoners. And since Crumbzz did burn his own flash, it would make a repeat gank still pretty difficult because they'd have to be fighting up against heal and exhaust. So summoner spell forcing ganks from Crumbzz. But because he didn't actually get any full kills, I think that favors Team Impulse.
Definitely agree here. So they're going to still feel pretty okay in this bottom lane as see plenty of Thunderlord's blessings and fun things from there. Strength of the Ages, even on attack damage junglers like Kindred, you're still seeing that Master be chosen because, look, you're still going to be partially in the front line. For those who are playing Kindred at home, yeah, Strength of Ages, I think definitely a great mastery and continuing to play the Devourer style as well.
Yeah, I have still seen Fervor on Kindred.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only jungler I still see not take Strength of Ages, only because you are building the attack speed in a lot of cases, and the added damage is really good if you're trying to bully someone very early in the jungle. Like level 3, level 4, getting your fights off, because at that point, Strength of Ages is giving about 30 health, and you're going to get more from Fervor over the duration of a kill.
All right, it's going to give you 2 stacks on a spell hitting, and oh, here comes the all into the mid lane. Nice Azir ulti to buy some time. Deathmark is on, and a barrier's going to block that pretty cleanly. Even though Crumbzz showed up, Ninja lost that fight heavily. And here comes the team. Procxin's in for first blood. Thank you very much. Great job, Team Impulse.
Yep, big early play by Impulse, and that's the 3rd gank from Crumbzz that leads to no kills. So and the very first gank from Procxin gets him a kill after hard farming. That is the dream scenario for Kindred. Like, this is actually the dream game so far. You get 2 good Scuttlecram spawns, you pick up 2 very early stacks.
Get a
and
first
like,
blood.
oh, you know, I'm level 6. I'm just going to walk in, pick up this blood bar. It's going to help me, and counter jungle the red.
Well, this is the thing is, this is like jungling 101. Your first gank usually burns a flash. Then you go back and kill that person who has no summoners anymore. All Crumbzz has done is run around like, okay, well, I burned top flash, I burned bot lane's flashes, now I burns mid lane flashes, and by the time he revisits Feng, he's got flashback. Crumbzz outsmarting himself. He's making too many lanes.
Yeah, trying a little bit too hard to have early game pressure. Although his CS is actually decent at 30. Gragas has a lot of freedom to get some ganks off without losing too much CS. But I absolutely agree with you, Phreak. Get a repeat gank in the top lane, or get a repeat gank to the bottom lane. Instead, he's been trying to dip into these little tiny power spikes like, oh, Feng just teleported, I should gank him to push him out of wave. Or, oh, Zed is level 6, we should try and kill Pirean in the mid lane. But it just hasn't been working out.
And what's funny with Crumbzz here is he's cleared his own jungle enough that there's not a lot of other places the Mark can spawn than Scuttle Crab. And just, I'm sure there's some luck involved. I haven't been watching that closely, but if Wolves are always dead and Crumbzz are always dead, that's never going to be where Wolf chooses its mark. So I think he's helping Procxin a little bit. I'm getting a bit off track with, like,
I don't think that's
misplays from Crumbzz.
Yeah, I don't think that's an optimization path against Kindred. Like, don't farm your own jungle.
I've actually heard of players who will, or coaches who will tell me a good jungler was like, oh, it's on Crumbzz, he'll never get that, and they'll leave Crumbzz up all game.
So if a Mark spawns in your own jungle, sometimes it's the right play not to farm it. But I never think it's the right play to just never farm camps up in the hope that you get a Mark spawn.
I buy that. I think that's correct.
Yeah, that's just handicapping yourself.
And sadly, unlucky for Crumbzz, hasn't been able to get those marks to spawn somewhere. Poor for Procxin. Bot wave clearing back and forth, flashes up very soon actually, gates at about 30 seconds, mash in about a minute. And we haven't seen that repeat gank from Crumbzz, sadly. And the thing is, Hakuho can completely stuff Valkyrie with Steadfast Presence. Like, there are no escape tools for mash if they were to make this gank happen from the right situation. Hasn't happened here. Great defensive pink ward right on your screen there. Procxin can keep clearing the wards away and ensure that Crumbzz can never sneak in. As Seraph just farms this top lane. Look, he's up 15 CS. That's nice, but
that was the benefit of the early gank that Crumbzz gave in the top lane because it pushed Feng back in wave when he didn't have teleport, so made him play very passively for a while. Seraph will continue to farm up and hopefully gets a power spike around Trinity Force time. So by no means is this game falling out of the hands of Renegades.
Absolutely not.
Still only 400.
And that is a small difference. Here comes Crumbzz with his repeat gank toward the mid lane. His flash is up. Pirean's is not.
Yeah.
Zed ulti's up. There's a soldier forward that's queued down. Crumbzz takes a chug. Is this the play?
Yep, that's the play.
And a great response. Pirean WE backwards, not even a problem. Blue team is slain the dragon. No steal attempt for Hakuho, can quite manage it. Tried to ult, didn't get it. Great job. Team Impulse getting farther ahead now. The first dragon of the game.
Absolutely. Very good reflexes in the mid lane by Pirean, and that bought a lot of time from Crumbzz, in which Chip could take that dragon. And also, the Devourer is stacked up, so Procxin's adding everything up very quickly. 3 marks to the Kindred and many Devourer stacks already. Going for some more. That missed.
Tempered Fate won't land, but it might mean that Freeze in a bad spot has to flash get away, pops the culling, and Matt says, you're right. I'm sorry about this one. Gangplank ulti to the backside. There's a knockback outside the Lamb's Respite. Very low health bars on Impulse. They get the heal. Here comes the battle. Mash is going to go down. So is his support. Great gank by Renegades.
Yeah, and it was actually a counter gank. It was a very poor gank early by Team Impulse, missing the Bard ult and then continuing to move in against a team that has Gangplank and teleport available.
Yeah.
So really, there was no way that was working out well for Team Impulse after the Bard ult missed. Freeze returned a lot of damage at the very start, and this puts Renegades in the lead. Good
stuff by them. The turret's going to balloon that lead even farther. Was 1,000, now make that 2,000. Spotling goes down. Freeze is going to be rich, and he's going to have basically entirely Essence Reaver.
Yeah, so as you can see, Procxin goes way up in here, and Crumbzz is just able to walk in from the river to make it an even 3v3. Teleport's not matched by Nautilus. I don't even think it should have been because the fight was pretty much lost.
Yeah.
And the kills go over to the 2 carries that Renegades want them to. One on Gangplank, one on Freeze.
And unfortunately by Impulse, I thought they could capitalize on the fact that Procxin was ahead. Hey, I got Swifties. Hey, my Devourers in my inventory. I've got all these stacks for my passive. I do so much damage. But they magical journeyed when Renegades could just see them and walk backwards. It was just overly forced. And, well, Impulse giving away 2 kills and a turret. So Renegades can feel good about the fact that, well, Crumbzz got in the lane in time, and it was a good turnaround. Battle for 8th place still afoot here as Ninja's Zed counterpick has actually not done anything right now. Pirean is ahead.
Yep. He was keeping it relatively even early, so Zed doesn't actually become that great into Azir until Zed gets the ultimate because...
You just get pushed in until then.
Yeah, you get pushed in until then, and then as soon as he tried to push back out, Procxin was there for the counter gank. So really Ninja hasn't had an avenue in. Pirean's gone sans boots. Instead he's just rushing the Zonias, which is exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah. And we'll see as that continues. Gate and Procxin clearing wards away with a pink ward pretty aggressively in that lane, and they're going to look to move in towards where Crumbzz is. And yes, they do land the stun. It actually, so the first half of Q hit him before Body Slam started, and then it tagged the wall afterwards. And it looked funny, but that is the mechanic of how Bard Q works. Again, looks weird, but it was a stun nonetheless. No pressure on the bot side, though. Blue buff will not be stolen away or anything. Pirean just clearing wards away with his pink in the top side, and trying to keep Ninja stuck under turret, who has Maw of Mortius himself for plenty of offensive and defensive stats. Should survive Azir reasonably well, as Pirean can use the last hit successfully. Gate pushing farther and farther forward. They have Procxin behind, so the Kindred here to show some threat. But at the end of the day, they just magical journey out, and Renegades will not follow them through the wall. Still the 2,000 gold game as Impulse start to play the rotation game. Top lane battle, first of all, as Feng is still trading quite closely with Seraph. Look, he lost his flash very early on due to a Crumbzz gang. Was able to keep up and farm anyway, and look what Sunfire and Corrupting Potion is doing all right. Zettlety back in onto Pirean, plenty of damage dealt there. Azir has to flash away, explosive cast to knock him out of the Lamb's Rest, but nice stuff. The heal comes through, Zed running away. Procxin on the chase, can't quite catch him, but it does mean that Pirean is now gonna go down. Crumbzz smartly ganking the mid lane, making it happen.
Yeah.
Good turnaround.
Ninja could not stick around because would have been his death. Smart job by Renegades to stick right there, and they win the 2v2 this time around. That's very beneficial. They burned all summoners were burned that could be burned in that fight. Yeah, the Maw coming in super critical for Ninja there.
Really, really big deal. Sadly for Procxin, just couldn't get enough damage down to secure that one. You watch that fight again. Yeah,
we missed the very start of it. The Azir ultimate is missed, which really hurts him. And then Ninja dodges away from Procxin's damage, and very nearly Renegades knocked Pirean out temporarily, but then the turret shot landed once he was back inside the Lamb's Respite. And then Crumbzz is able to get the auto attack kill before dashing away.
Yeah.
Procxin could have gotten a little bit closer to the wall. He could have blocked Crumbz's body slam, but
I think so.
It was not to be.
And unfortunately for him, he chose to chase the Zed instead of just staying on top of Crumbzz, and it's a defensible choice. I thought he nearly had the guy, but I think if he had stayed on Crumbzz, maybe that fight could have turned around and been a 1-for-1. But it's Renegades continue to push farther ahead. Sadly, Seraph cannot quite one-shot cast him into the barrel. It's so satisfying when you can, but he needs a little bit more attack damage so that happens as he moves towards, I think, Essence Reaver is his next build. Renegades controlling the bot side, pushing in.
Yeah, and even though we're saying Feng is staying pretty close with Seraph and farm, the 1 kill, 1 assist, 1 turret, and all the plundered gold gives Seraph a 1,200 gold lead against Feng, which is quite substantial. That
is a 24% or 25% gold lead here. It's 48k to 6k on those two members. Feng still building as tanky as he can, going towards a Glacial Shroud for some armor and cooldown reduction to, again, spam those Riptides and try to keep up in the battle. But look at Renegades pushing down to the bot side. Hakuho and Freeze, survived a fairly rough early laning phase, are now up 30 minions and dodging away from the Fate, knocking this turret down.
Great recovery from, well, they didn't really have to recover. They've just been fine the whole time.
Yeah,
Magic Gate were not able to punish that lane at all. Now Feng's actually a little bit far up. There's no Gangplank here.
Oh, look at that flash by Crumbzz, the no-look knockback. That's going to do plenty of damage. Gate forced to run away with no summoners left up. Crumbzz in the front line, a lot of damage towards Feng, that Nautilus, who flashes in, catches Ninja. A lot of damage in on there. They're going for that play. Oh no! He gets betrayed! And one hit'll do it. Oh, scumbag Hakuho!
That was a series of unfortunate events. Ninja used Death Mark on a target that got hit by the Poppy ultimate, therefore flew into the turret. He did take it back right afterwards, but
after a half second.
That sucked for him.
That turret shot too. Pirean going in, still this might lands for Crumbzz, so despite the death, Renegade's able to grab an objective, but here comes the soldiers and down goes Crumbzz. He dies for the sin of taking down Dragon. Map control to Impulse, they can push in. It looks like mid-outer could be theirs. Freeze is gonna lose his recall. Hakuho's still low as well, so Renegades don't even have the health bars to recover on the map. But Seraph is still pushing top lane, so mid-outer's dead, but look at top tier 2. There's plenty of damage being dealt by that Gangplank.
Yep. Seraph loves the split push, but this game is equalizing pretty quickly. Any little advantage we thought Renegades had was given away at that Dragon there. Seraph gets it though, another 400 gold in his pocket.
Has flash, has teleport.
Can he escape?
Can he? Here comes Gate, who can, by the way, get one shot by a lucky crit, so he's got to be careful here. Misses the Q barrel. Whoa. Okay, he's fine for now.
Yeah.
Seraph has flash, gets away. Woo. All right, so flash down. It's a cooldown missing. Bot lane outer did go down, so 2 outer turrets picked up.
Yeah.
What a good
nice
flash.
job by Crumbzz.
Really good
Body
flash.
slam, pre-magical journey. And then we're about to witness the greatest betrayal as Poppy ult is charging up. Hakuho, as Ninja's like, you know what? I should ult to escape some of this damage. Actually, I'm going to go over there now. And then he tries to take it back half second later and dies. Ah, poor guy.
Yep.
I mean, they both had the right idea.
Sure.
Just not the right
Get rid of the Kindred. She's scary. Oh, God, no, not that way.
Don't take damage.
Yeah. Okay. Jatt, did you know?
You told me about this before the day.
Yeah,
but
I was prepping you to get ready for a
it.
Did You Know.
I haven't heard. Did you know this? Okay, it's going to be fine. For
Yeah.
this dead.
No, they're fine. Don't worry, Renegades.
What is it? Did you know? I'll see if I know.
Hakuho picked his screen name after a Mongolian sumo wrestler.
Was it a famous Mongolian sumo wrestler?
Yeah, he's really good, apparently.
Is he also nicknamed Haku? Because that's what he wanted to change his name to? Like, Haku is Haku?
No, Hakuho is his first name.
Okay. All right, I did not know that.
Yep. Ooh, oh, flash by freeze, but it still means that the sumo wrestler Hakuho has to run away and we'll be fine. To further the story, Hakuho, the player, the one on Renegades, was a wrestler in high school and decided he was really interested in sumo wrestling. And Hakuho is one of his favorite sumo wrestlers.
Interesting.
So there you go. A cool did you know?
Yeah. Like, looking at the player cam of Hakuho, you would not expect him to be a sumo wrestler.
No, nor Mongolian.
But, you know, neither of those things. Yeah. I mean, I was a little hyped for your Did You Know. It's okay.
It's only okay. I think it's a pretty sweet story.
It is a good story.
Thank you.
I don't know if it needed to be like a Did You Know, because those are normally like cool facts about like data and stuff. It's like,
This is a cool fact.
Did you know
You
Ash
dissing
went to
Hakuho?
high school and really liked biology? Like,
Okay, fair. GG, Jatt 1-0.
although you have been confirmed, production confirmed that Hakuho is a sumo wrestler, so your Did You Know is at least correct.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I Googled it. I wasn't sure if he was trolling me or not.
Okay, half correct. I'm not sure if he's Mongolian.
Definitely was. I Googled that
Okay,
too.
there we go.
That was like the first line of the bio. All right, Impulse and Renegade still pretty close in this one. 3,000 gold difference, 2,000 gold difference, depending on when you're checking. It is. Renegades holding a much better line in this game. Their farm starting to really balloon ahead. Gangplank up 30, plus is Gangplank. Mints a lot of coins. And yeah, the AD carry as well of Freeze, who's continued to have incredibly high farm numbers all season long.
Yeah, he really has. Even when Renegades was going through the huge losing streak, Freeze was still performing at a very high level and never lost confidence.
Yeah.
Seraph as well is looking to just kind of slowly push Feng out of lane. He's gone for Death Dance instead of the Essence Reaver because he needs the sustain actually to deal with any type of damage that Feng will throw back at him.
Whoop. Ooh. Dodging, Phosphorus Bomb, ults back for a bit of safety. Mob pops, misses the Fate's Call. And Seraph, by the way, picked off MASH with the ulti. Cannon Barrage saying thank you.
The Ignite ticking as well as the ultimate from the Gangplank.
And MASH had flash and heal up. He didn't think he'd die.
Yeah,
He
that's...
just didn't use summoners.
Maybe the burst damage, maybe he was watching the Bard ultimate go off onto Ninja. Either way.
Whoa, the threat of a flash.
That's a tough-
Crumbzz outsmarts Pirean. His patience pays off, and Azir missing a summon spell for just a body slam. There's an anchor, is gonna do a bit of damage to Crumbzz. A nice heavy.
Bard's done.
The stun comes in, but Nautilus ultied Crumbzz. It's enough though for Hakuho to go down. Wrestle to the ground, Impulse getting a kill for themselves, and MASH is back alive. He can rejoin the team soon.
Yeah, mainly though because of the 2-turret lead and all the gold that Seraph has been able to plunder. The gold lead is still pretty substantial here, despite them being able to pick up a few kills on the backside. And it's just the mid lane minion wave that is technically pushable, but I just don't think they can get there with Seraph and Phreak clearing the way.
Good smite. Procxin took away the Krug and gets another one for himself. That puts Kindred at 4 marks right now. He got 3 pretty early on from some lucky Scuttle Crab choices, and unfortunately for him, he's never gotten a kill on Gragas or an assist, so the Lamb mark hasn't paid off yet for him.
Yeah, it means Their attacks deal 5% of the enemy's current health as bonus physical damage. It's 1.25% per mark.
Oh, and Gates in a really bad spot. Jumps over the wall. Still, I believe, in death mark range, and Ninja gets the kill. Swaggily hops back, and he's going to be fine in the river. Solo kill. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a great game for Ninja for his signature Zed here, but he has been able to get a few kills once this game has gone more towards split pushing, and this is really the core of what Renegades wanted with the Gangplank pick and the Zed pick, was Gangplank applying map pressure, Zed split pushing, and then trying to get kills and picks in the transition phases.
And we'll see how much more they can get off this transition as Impulse have rejoined the mid lane, but they are, of course, without their support. That means Seraph was able to steal away blue buff by himself with no contest and no wards. Just got to walk up and take it. Renegades getting farther ahead now. 5,000 is their lead. Looking to, again, climb from the depth of 10th place. They had only one win after, what, like 12 games or something. It was such an incredibly rough start for them.
They're either 1-11 or 1-12, but they've won 4 of their last 5, and are looking to make it 5 of 6 if you count this tiebreaker game. If they win even 2 of 3, or no, if they even win 3 of 5 in the promotion tournament,
Yeah.
they will be able to remain in the LCS. And then, honestly, have much higher aspirations for the next split, with that trade that came in at the end of the season really working wonders.
Yeah. Whoa! That's a bad misclick. Zhonya's popped for nothing.
But no one saw it.
True.
So, if you Zhonya's in the Fog of War, it still goes on cooldown.
But Ninja doesn't know about that.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a sound that he could hear. And I don't think we're going to expect to see an all-in that would not otherwise make sense. And maybe he'll be okay with that cooldown coming back pretty soon, as it's ticking back to normalcy. Impulse will just play a little bit safely until it does come back. Interestingly, Iceborne Gauntlet did come through for Feng, so he's really trying to actually add to his damage output here. Continuing, of course, to stack health and armor because the all-AD team of Renegades, but as a, maybe Thornmail actually comes in next for him, maybe Seraph Portal, we'll see. Feng will just continue to be incredibly tanky, and as time goes on, I mean, yes, Gangplank scales up, but Nautilus eventually becomes invincible.
Exactly, and that's what Renegades would have to be a little bit scared of. I think their plan is that they're going to be split pushing anyways, so they're going to take Feng out by having Seraph somewhere else, and then look, sure, we'll team fight with Zed and Lucian against a team that has a hard time building armor. So I think that's generally their plan. Also, Iceborne Gauntlet is what he needs if he wants to have any type of threat onto Seraph.
Crumbzz flash, Hakuho caught again by Fate's Call. Plenty of burst damage, down to half HP. Channels the ulti, knocks back 2. Ult for ult, flash lost by 1. I guess technically an advantage for Impulse, but Feng teleported in for that one.
Right, and the split push will continue now for Renegades. Seraph on one side, Ninja on the other, and 3 others of Renegades in the middle. It's going to be very, very hard to deal with.
And more damage coming in for Procxin, actually, realizing that he's got a tanky enough tank in the Nautilus, and he's, of course, Kindred, going for either Static Shiv or Rapid Fire Cannon next up here. I wanted to see Hurricane. That'd have been sweet, just like throw Hurricane bolts everywhere with all your glorious % health damage and cut to the front line, but no, going for something a little bit more reserved. And now the flash engage up towards Mashu will survive the death mark. He's going to be fine. Not too many hits actually landed there. Ninja lost ulti and ignite. Crumbzz burned summoners too. No, that was the flash he burned to get away from Fate's Call earlier.
Yeah.
Mash burned summoners to get away.
Yeah, 80 carry summoners for mid lane summoners, so...
And Fate's exhaust.
Kind of an even trade. Oh, yeah, triple summoner, not an even trade.
Yeah, advantage Renegades.
+1.
Plus, yeah, you're right. +1. Trade of ults otherwise. Okay, so good stuff. Ninja can feel good about that fight overall. Freeze continues to farm heavily, 276 minions at the 26-minute mark. He very rarely misses any mechanically, and he's often the guy acquiring that farm. And it's honestly just impressive watching how well Renegades are controlling these waves, because, look, as the team has improved over the last few weeks, and they've worked so hard to get better, when all 3 carry laners are getting high numbers of farm, that means the team is always there to absorb them. It's not just mechanics, but also just placement. And that is a team goal right there. It's not hard when you're like double if then you just take away Pobother's farm or something like that. It's like, no, they're all getting gold here.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. And when Froggen set the CS world record last week, that was with a spectator bug on CS.
Yeah.
For Gangplank, that is still in effect right now, or did that
Should
get
be.
fixed?
I imagine it would still be the same.
Basically, barrels that are chained together are counting towards Gangplank's own CS. So that is a slightly inflated 284 number. His farm is still very high, though, as we can see by his gold and the amount of gold plundered he has. But take that with a grain of salt. If you want to see his full CS numbers, it will be correct in the match history.
Don't worry, here in NA, salt is not something that we are afraid of having around, and we should be okay to lower the number a little bit. Taking shots in my own region. I don't know why. I have no reason to do this. I don't know why I did that. I apologize, everybody. I didn't mean it.
Oh, man.
Impulse.
Seraph's still pushing the bottom lane where there's no turret, so Impulse is trying.
Ooh, actually, this could be a partial collapse. I mean, Seraph's going to take plenty of damage here. Feng dropping him into half. He says, nice tries, he eats an orange and keeps running through the barrels. And actually, yeah, that is Feng's ulti burned for no chance yet at a chase. Procxin would rather steal the blue buff than try to fight the Gangplank right now. Devour in hand, plenty of money. I mean, Procxin is definitely huge. 140 minions is a lot. Individual gold-wise is more than 1,000 over Crumbzz, but now looking for revenge right here. A nice knockback into a tackle. Procxin losing a ton of health. Has to ulti to stay alive, but he's still in the middle of a lot of enemy champions. Feng comes to join. That's an easy pickup for Freeze. 300 gold for him. Now it's on to Ninja, who jumps on top of Mash, and he'll try to get the kill, and in fact, he will get it. That is Ninja getting that one, and now running away with the Youmu's. Magical journey in. This should be what for Pirean, but it's not. Ninja gets the kill 1v3 and gets out.
And that is why Ninja is known for Zed right there. What an outplay, 1v3, and then escaping with the channel teleport of Seraph. This will mean Renegades get to turn on to Baron because of the 2 kills on the AD carries.
And the season continues upward for Renegades, knocking down LCS teams repeatedly in the last few weeks of play. Next up, they face Challenger ones, so this can feel quite nice as Renegades now 7,000 up, wearing a Baron buff, recalling to reset the map.
Yeah, and we get to see CLG playing the 1-3-1 so much in the North American LCS. This is Renegades playing the 1-3-1. All the distractions happening on the side, and the team itself can collapse in very nicely. So Ninja gets all the damage down, pops them all of Mount Mortius for the overshield there. The death mark is what finishes him off. And then this is just a genius juke right here. He throws, oh my God, and Gate had to back off because of the teleport.
Wow. Well, good TP by Seraph, but he wasn't in combat. He did scare off the chase.
Really,
the making it happen.
I said genius juke. I mean, it was nice.
Yeah, it was solid.
Don't quote me on the genius juke. It was really good play.
Yeah.
By Ninja.
Jatt, the over-complimenting analyst caster here.
Geez, Jatt, it's an 8th place tiebreaker. Why I have to be so complimentary? You're like, man, it's
to be fair, Renegades are definitely not playing like an 8th place team. They've put in so much work in the last few weeks. They've gotten some roster upgrades as well, with Seraph and Ninja joining the roster. Yeah, and in talking with Crumbzz earlier today, he said, look, I don't want to say where we're going to place next split, assuming they make it back in. He says, I just know we're going to be the most hard-working team. And that's going to put them where it puts them. But Renegades, honestly, playing some good League of Legends to end out the regular season here. Yes, they're headed to the promotion relegation tournament. Yes, that's a bad spot to be in, but maybe they can turn it around just like this fight. Yeah, Freeze down low, but gets an Azir delivery. Hakuho joins in, but a flash keeps Pirean safe for now outside the Gangplank ulti. Seraph stuck in the front line. It's a 1-for-1. Azir and Gangplank both dead, but the shutdown went over to Gate. 300 gold on the support that he didn't really need.
Really good Tempered Fate there by Gate to set up that fight. I am a little confused by where Seraph was, but also it was a 4v5. And Ninja has Baron minions to open up the base of Team Impulse.
Now he's got to survive this one. Anchor toss won't land. Ulti's in onto the Kindred, who's trying to trade kills back and forth. Will survive the death mark, but now it's up to what Ninja can do. Cannot get away. That will be the 1-for-0. But mid lane was getting pushed. Turrets going down to the mid lane. Feels pretty good for Renegades.
Yeah, Team Impulse just can't seem to keep up with the diversified threats of Renegades. And before we got into that last replay, it was about the 1-3-1. It's how it reacts to what the other team tries to do to you. Every time one team moves somewhere, you get to go the other. So this is a move by Team Impulse to get on to freezing Crumbzz, and Ninja sees that as an opportunity in the side wave to just run and try and take the turret. Hakuho and Crumbzz delay this fight long enough. I mean, Seraph flashed into the middle of the team, so really Renegades didn't even need to lose a single person because the fight was disengaged on the other side. This could have been 2 inhibitor turrets for nothing.
Yeah.
Or for 1 kill on a Ninja because he
Right.
died regardless. But even with the mistake from Seraph there, it's still a highly favorable trade.
Yeah, baited by Exhaust and Barrier. And turns out he didn't do very much damage after all. It's a trade, and he's going to feel as good as he can. Mash has actually gone for Phantom Dancer as his Zeal item of choice. Instead of going for the Quicksilver Sash to survive Deathmark, he's just going to hope to debuff him for 12% less damage.
Yeah.
That's his choice. It will keep his DPS up very high. He's 70% crit chance Corki. This is a painful champion. But Mash has to live to make that happen. And unfortunately, as the death leader of the team, that's not been the case so far for him.
No, definitely not. It's been a tough day for Mash.
Yeah.
Had to play against Immortals, who got the pentakill right at the end of the game. On to them. He was
doing
very
pretty well.
far ahead of Wild Turtle in lane, but
Yeah.
the team just could not transition. If they would have been able to win that, they would have been 8th place.
Now they have to fight for it. And this game is still, of course, able to be turned around. A 9,000 gold deficit. We've seen bigger turnarounds earlier today, so certainly a chance for Impulse, but Renegades are strangling them. 10,000 now the lead as they've cleared away some of the minions here. And they get farther and farther ahead. There has not been an answer to the split push. We've not seen anyone able to 1v1 the Zed played by Ninja, nor anyone able to really fight Seraph's Gangplank either. And so far, the tankiness is just not enough. Yes, Thornmail's in. Yes, Randoids is next here for Feng, but look, they don't have to target you. Ninja has the freedom of target selection, and Seraph is a global ultimate that hits everybody.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, there is no one on the team that can deal with Seraph in a split push aside from the armor.
TP flank. They're going for the play right now. The Nautilus coming in from behind. This has to be the engage for Impulse, and they will find Seraph. Knockback onto 1, ulti on the freeze, but there's no follow-up here. Gangplank ulti buys time, and Pirean is now low on Azir. A magical journey out. Ninja looks for a kill, and there goes the super tank of Nautilus. A 1-for-0 as Freeze continues in. Looking for the fight, looking for the kill. It's going to go via shutdown for Procxin, but traded right back there. Thank you very much. Seraph gets a red buff for his troubles, and Ninja right back on a split push duty. It's a 3 versus 4 on the map. Renegades should take double inhibitor, maybe more.
Yep, Renegades just disengaging that fight long enough to let Ninja go in, and then they are still able to pick up a couple kills. Freeze actually zoned Pirean out of that fight with the culling, which then left Feng all by his lonesome. And even though they're all physical damage, it still does damage to the tank, and they slowly took the Nautilus down in the middle of the team. Even bigger lead for Renegades.
Even bigger. Lord Dominic's regards in for Freeze, so at least he's got the armor penetration. And when the Maw got popped, he got some lifesteal and stayed alive a little bit longer. We can watch that fight again, and this is right as Feng TP's in. It's the dodge on the Tempered Fate. And the rest of Impulse aren't even in range still, and no one can hit Freeze as he kites up to the side.
Yep, knocking Kindred back at the start of that fight is a very good Poppy ultimate, but then Feng stays in because he started from that far in the back, and the Gangplank ultimate takes up the whole lane, so no one can realistically follow through. Here, though, it's a nice burst of damage by Procxin to at least take out Freeze. But he ends up falling, and because Ninja was split pushing on the side, that's 2 inhibitors down, which will still be down by the time Baron and Dragon respawn. So Renegades will be looking to take a lot of objectives, or they're just going to use the threat of those objectives to open up a 3rd inhibitor.
And they could, of course, easily do that. Top lane and mid lane are both going to push in pretty cleanly. Ninja has the mark over him. We'll see if Procxin can get the mark of the Ninja, but that's not super likely, as he's been hard to kill so far this game. A very elusive player. Impulse clearing with the mid lane, and Zed is split push against Nautilus. And you'd think I'm going to check the number. 355 armor Nautilus would survive a Zed, but that's not really been the case so far in this one. Black Cleaver on.
Black Cleaver Zed, he's got the Wrath Elixir for a little bit. A Lifesteal and Spell Vamp. It would be a fun fight to watch. I agree with you that he wouldn't be able to kill Feng. Don't think Feng could kill him either, though. He'd just run away with the Ghost Blade.
Yeah.
But even so, you know, Feng's trying his hardest. He built the armor items. He got 300 CS. That's just not enough.
Not enough right now. Easy Dragon pickup. What? Hakuho with the last hit. Well done. 4 picked up now for Renegades. So in the absence of split pushing to death, they can always play for Dragon 5 in 6 minutes, and that'll be a nice, easy way into the base as well. Baron, of course, on the field, and Renegades heading over to control that side of the map. There are a few wards from Impulse, but they're dying quickly as Crumbzz, wearing a blue elixir, gets rid of some of the vision and ensures that this side of the map is clear of vision. So now, under the guise of night, the stealth of the fog of war, they push in for the Baron. There is no one even trying to stop this one.
Bardolt will try, but where else are they going to go?
He bought them 5 seconds and magically grenade out. I don't even know why you burn the cooldown.
Yeah. Desperation, Phreak.
I suppose so.
Gotta do something.
I don't even deal damage. Like, I understand if you're Gangplank or like Ezreal and you're like, yeah, maybe it kills it, but this is like, maybe I buy 4 seconds.
Maybe
Sick, dog.
There's really no positive outcome from that Shepherd fade. Yeah, and now it's 2 inhibitors exposed. Maybe they get a 5v5 team fight and can win it.
Took some good damage
Unlikely.
to the front line. Feng knocked into the team, but he's okay. He's the tank. He's okay taking this damage. And now the Kindred ults up as well. Feng gets healed a fair bit, but no, Freeze is going to grab that one. They've still crushed in the tank. 975 damage done by a barrel crit into the queue for 643. Gate's still alive. Takes a summoner heal. The double stun on as well. Ninja's really low. Puts the shadow in, can't go get the kill. Turret's dead. Goodbye to Procxin. That's a 2 for 0 so far. On to the final inhibitor. They're all still alive. 5 versus 3. Renegades to salvage the back half of the split. On pace to make 8.
They're a little bit low, but the minions are really powerful, so I think this one's over.
This one's going to be over. In they go. Bard will need to buy some time, but it won't keep the Nexus invulnerable. Last few strikes to come in. There's not enough damage to push them out this one. Some celebratory champion kills at the end. A nice double kill for Seraph. And an 8th place finish for Renegades, dropping TIP to 9th.
Yeah, great job by Renegades here. Finishing the week essentially 3-0.
Yeah.
Beating Impulse, Echo Fox, and now Impulse again. All the way from 10th to 8th, which doesn't sound like it was a far ride, but at one point in the season, they were 2 games below everyone else in the standings. They came back in a big way.
Yeah, really big deal for them. Renegades saying that their trademark is going to be hard work and improvement, and it's been one of those teams that have kept their heads high. We mentioned this from Team Dignitas in the previous game, but Renegade's another one that, in the face of adversity, just tried twice as hard as before. And it goes to show you that, yes, okay, look, player upgrades help. Seraph has been doing much better than either RF or Crumbzz has all LCS long, and Ninja's been doing better than Alex Ditch has. There is, of course, an element of player upgrades, but the constant hard work has shown up here for Renegades, winning a lot of games in the back half of the split. I think they're definitely better than the 8th place team would sort of have you believe based on standings. These guys have taken down some top tier competition like TSM. They've beaten a playoff team this month.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it also makes that 10th seed all the more punishing. Team Dignitas will have to beat TDK, and then if they do that, they have to play against Renegades. So if you're Renegades right now, you're actually feeling pretty good because your expectations at the start of the year, you know, maybe decently high, but then midway through week 7, they were sitting at 1-12.
Right.
And things got way better from there.
And smiles all around now for Renegades. Now, you'd seen that, well, they had beaten Team Dignitas back in week 7. That could just be their opponent to get back into the LCS. They could probably do that again. In fact, there's just so many chances for Renegades to make it back in. You know, 3 of the 4 teams in the same seed as them are going to make it back in. This seems like a team that will be remaining in the North American LCS. If the quality of play remains at least this high, and they've done better as well, like this is a squad that I think can continue to look promising as they move towards their next fights, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be a